Well, guys, we hadn't done a video in a while, and I thought I would catch everybody up on what's been going on this spring. And I think I've been in the turkey woods about 5 times. Haven't had any luck. I've been on some birds, had some opportunities. There was one morning that I could have killed a bird about 2 times, but I never could get him on the camera, and unfortunately the audio's messed up from that day. But I also spent about 5 days in Illinois not scouting for this fall, and I battled rain throughout the whole trip, and I was able to find some sheds, which was pretty good, and found some pretty good areas. But since I was battling the rain, I wasn't able to take my cameras as often as I would have hoped. But found one match set and then 3 individual sheds, all from this year except for one. It looks like the majority of them are 2-year-old sheds, but a couple of the deer show some pretty good promise. I covered probably close to 30 miles in those 5 days. Sorry, my voice is a little messed up this morning. But I was wanting to take you through just some highlights of what's happened this spring, a couple of my turkey hunts, and then a little bit from Illinois. So enjoy what you see. I'll show you these sheds. This was the first one I picked up. It was buried in pine straw, kind of some thick cover. All that was sticking up were just the very tips of the tines. It was definitely from this year, but it had been cast pretty early. That was on my first full day of scouting. My first real day got totally washed out. But shortly after that, I picked this match set up. Coming out, it also in pine straw, coming out of a bedding area. They hadn't been on the ground too long. I don't know if you can see, but there was still some hair on them. Still had good color on the bases. Definitely a 2-year-old, but nice 2-year-old 10-pointer. Probably be a shooter for me next year. Those 3 come from the same area. I don't know if I will hunt that area very much. There was a lot of tree stands and a lot of people pressure there. There's a portion of it I didn't get to scout that I was interested in. Wasn't able to cross a creek, and because all the rain we got, the creeks were so high, and I didn't have any waders or anything. So I may revisit that, this fall. The following day, I still hadn't found any areas I was really confident in, but right late in the evening, right before dark, I got onto a pretty good area and a really nice bedding area. Found this in the bedding area. This is the only one that I suspect was from last year. You can see it's a little green on the bottom. Not a lot of color. Squirrels have been on it just a little, but it was so thick that there wasn't many squirrels in there. That was the one shocking thing is I was up there 3rd week of April, and there was very little squirrel damage on any of these. And then on my second to last day, I got on a really good area that I am very hopeful. But as I was working my way out, I was going out this wide open hardwood ridge paralleling a creek, and found this one. Frame wise, this is the biggest one I found. Still think it's a 2-year-old. He doesn't really have a brow tine. He's got good G2s though. But this was a wide open ridge getting tons of sun. That's why it's so bleached out. It's almost lost all of its color on the base. I really wanted the match to this one and spent quite a bit of time trying to find it, but wasn't able to. But for as late as I went, I was really up there a month to a month and a half late for really finding sheds. But to find that many sheds on public land, I would call that a victory. I've never really been able to find many around here. But I'm pretty excited for that. I got on some good deer. There's actually quite a bit of swamp and marsh in that area, and I saw several deer wading through elbow to chest deep water off of these little islands. So when I go up there in the fall, I'm going to take some waders and stuff in hopes of checking out some of those islands. But I found some good ways to get away from people, kind of where The people didn't go, and I've got high hopes for it. Ideally, I'm gonna try and take close to 3 weeks. If I can kill one there, I'm gonna try and go to Ohio afterwards. But we got about a week left of turkey season. Might get to go on Sunday, and that might be it. But I ended up getting the day off today a little late, so I opted not to go to the turkey woods late. I'm gonna make this video, catch up on some other stuff. But until next time. I haven't seen a vehicle the whole way, and I get to the spot I wanted to go, and there's a vehicle. Well, good morning, guys. It's a little before 6 o'clock, and we're headed out to go see if we can find a turkey. Keeping it kind of close to the house today. I know there's some birds in here, but I haven't been in here much. It's a place I killed both of my bucks this year. You've seen me hunt it quite a bit, so we're gonna ride over here. I know there's some birds in there. I don't know where they're roosted, so I'm kind of wanting to get in the woods and get still before they start waking up. We got a little bit of rain. That's got some scattered showers that may hit later, so we're gonna have to contest with that. Generally in the past, these birds have gobbled on the roost really well, but they pitch down and go out into a field for most of the morning that I cannot hunt. So I'm hoping things have changed a little, but I guess we'll see. Generally when they do that, they'll circle back around about lunchtime or early afternoon, but just given my schedule, I'm not going to be able to hang out in the woods that long. So we're going to hang out and see what happens. I'm just happy I'm getting to go. Hopefully it doesn't rain on us too much. I've got some rain gear. It's not very far from the truck where I'm going. The good thing is there's generally several turkeys. The bad news is it's a fairly small property, so they're kind of either there or they're not. They might be on the neighbors, so we may have to wait them out and see if we can get lucky for a little while. I want to be able to watch the Masters. Tiger, that final group, tees off I think at like 9:30. So I got my phone, I've got Bluetooth, so if I have to, we'll be watching that and turkey hunting at the same time. So sometimes patience pays off with these birds, so we'll see. It's right at 6 o'clock. We're gonna see if we can slip up in the woods. We'll see. got this bird fired up. He's come up here to where I could kill him a couple times, but I couldn't get him on the camera. He won't come all the way in, but he comes pretty much to where he could see the sound and then circles back down there to strut. I can't see him, but he's gobbling every time I call. I'd love to be able to sneak one of these decoys out in front of me right here, but it may be a little too risky. What's up, guys? It's April 18th. If I look tired, it's because I am tired. I got off work yesterday about 4 o'clock, I believe, and went home first and drove 6.5 hours up to Illinois. Had to make a couple stops on the way. I think I finally laid down to go to sleep about 3 a.m. and then I was up at 6 because there was a thunderstorm. I actually slept in the car for maybe an hour, and then I just said I'm going to get up. But we're up in southern Illinois. We're going to scout some different public land up here to hunt in the fall. I'm hoping I'm going to take about 3 weeks this fall and spend at least 2 of them here, or at least until I hopefully kill one. But I've got 4 days, 4 solid days to scout up here, although this first one's going to be a wash. We're supposed to be getting like 3 inches of rain, which is just unbelievable. But I'm going to kind of run some errands. I've got some pins dropped on OnX at some places that looked interesting to me. I want to kind of scout the access out, see if any of it has just super easy access. We can just cross that off the list. But maybe we might be able to do some deductive reasoning and kind of get a feel, get our bearings for this area. I'm somewhat familiar with this area, but I haven't ever hunted it. But I do know I've rode around and looked at deer here before. But maybe we'll be able to get on something. I was hoping to come a little earlier in the year, but with work I get laid off for 5 days at this week here, so I was gonna have to be off anyway, so I used it for this. But I don't know that we'll be able to find any sheds, just because they've been on the ground for a while. At this point, squirrels have probably made sawdust out of most of them. But we're going to keep our eye out for sheds, morels, and then of course we're trying to find some good sign from last year and kind of get familiar with the area and see if we can get on some deer. But I'll get you updated when we actually get in the woods. Odds are it won't be today. It'll probably be at some point tomorrow, even though it looks like we're getting rain tomorrow. But we should at least have 3 good days. But we might have to kind of suffer through these first couple. But stick with me and I'll update you kind of as we see some stuff. Seeing tons of birds out in the fields with the rain. Saw a big tom cross the road a minute ago. This is all private stuff, but still cool to look at. That one, I can't tell. 2 on the left are definitely male birds. Looking at the little screen, it's hard to tell. Well, I wanted to show you guys what the camping setup looks like. I just got back and my tarp has held strong the first 2 days, but I got back and looks like the far side, it had ripped the tent stakes out, which we'd had some pretty strong gusts today. I'd say 25 mile an hour. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that, but the rest of it seems to do pretty well. I've got the canopy, I've just got it lowered down because I knew the wind was gonna be up. But then I've just got I think it's actually an 8-person dome tent there. And I took a tarp and stretched it over the top. I used a Lone Wolf climbing stick and actually a strap, and did paracord across just to give it something. So we're gonna go right now and I guess see how wet the inside got. One of the windows I had left cracked on the tarp side over here had gotten exposed, but we hadn't had a whole lot of rain since I was here, hopefully. So we're gonna head down in there, get ready, and then we're gonna go eat dinner with a buddy of mine. Local barbecue place I'm pretty excited about. Seems to be good deer at most of these places, but there is a ton of people. Thankfully, most of the other ones are ladder stands, which this is right on the edge of private. I mean, you can tell there's a field right there. That particular field's private, but I think a lot of those ladder stands I found yesterday are probably gun hunters. That's probably a bow hunter. We're still going to make a loop through it. My plan was to go hit the bigger patch of woods first thing, but I've been hitting a couple of these spots on my way there. A lot of deer tracks from deer right now, and there's a lot of rubs from the rut last year, is what I would guess. So I like seeing that different age of sign. You know, I don't put a lot of emphasis on the sign right now, but to see those old rubs and stuff is good. We're gonna push deeper in here and see if we can find us a good spot somewhere. Keeping my eyes peeled for sheds, but not too hopeful on that. Stick with me. What's up, guys? Today's the most important day we've had yet. It is my final full day, supposed to be at least. If I'm off work Tuesday, I may stay another day. I haven't carried my camera around the first 2 days because it was raining, and then yesterday I carried it a couple times, but I'll be honest, I've really struggled getting on deer, even though I've found a couple sheds and stuff. But it's been very, very challenging. I was checking out a road here. It's actually the other side, or the back side of where I found those first 3 sheds the first real day I looked. But what I'm running into is we got almost 3 inches of rainfall the first day I was here, and everything's flooded. So I'm take a look. That's the creek I'm trying to get across. Needless to say, that shit ain't happening. I walked all through the marsh and stuff here trying to find a place to cross, and it's just not gonna happen. So that's fine. Right at the end of yesterday, I picked up another shed, and I found a spot that has promise. Now, when I say that is, I didn't find that big buck's bedroom like I'd like to find, but I did find a bedroom, and that's where I picked up that shed. There's does definitely living there all the time, and it's one of those deals that if there is a good one in there, I at least know where they're gonna be. And if nothing else, that being doe bedding would probably be a good place to sit during the rut anyway. So I'm gonna go back over there and go across the road. That's actually, across the road is where I was gonna go to begin with, but when I pulled up, I got to looking on the map. I just decided to go a different direction last night, and that's where I found the shed and found that good spot. So glad I did decide to do that, but I'm gonna go check out what I was originally gonna check out yesterday. So stick with me. I'm gonna carry the camera today, try and keep you included. Hoping we can get on something. I walked over 14 miles yesterday, and the bulk of that was really it was really frustrating because I just couldn't. I was seeing deer sign, but just not good deer sign, you know. Not seeing what I want to see, but just put it that way. One thing I've noticed in southern Illinois is there are access roads everywhere. I mean, it's so easy for people to drive this road that's like unmaintained and then walk 200 yards into the woods. Like, I haven't found too many spots where you could walk, you know, a mile in one direction and not be getting closer to another road, you know. So it looks like I may have a little bit of that in that place I'm going this morning. So we're gonna get in there, see if we can get on some sign. I've got about this place, and I got 2 others I want to hit today for sure. And there's one that I tried to hit the first day just briefly that had a lot of deer sign that I want to go back to, but it's kind of on the way home, so I may hit it tomorrow on my way home. So stick with me. So far so good in this spot. There's some doe bedding up top, lots of tracks. Found a couple doe beds, and then there's been a ton of rubs, old, real big, and then mixed in with some fresh. But here's another one. This is a small one, but the thing to take away here is all of them are on the same path. They're all running the same path, so I'm gonna follow them, run that same path, and see where they lead me. Hopefully there's a pot of gold at the end. I just kicked up a ton of deer back here. Looks like we're kind of working the edge of public and private. And it looks like they were up here closer to the edge of private, and they went down. So I'm gonna go out here and check it out. Probably a bunch of does grouped up, but still promising to see. Seems like there's a lot more deer in this area, and I think it's definitely gonna be one that I check out come fall. I found some pretty big rubs, a couple doe bedding areas, and big rubs cruising that top third below those doe bedding areas. So I think that'd be a solid strategy. I want to start heading out of here soon so I can hit some other spots. It's about 10 o'clock right now. If we find anything else cool, I'll let you know. Well, I actually held off the excitement this time. I found another shed as it lays. I've been getting too excited and I pick it up before I even think about taking a picture. Question is, I may look around just for a second, see if I can find the other one. It's his left side. I'm walking out now, kind of skirting the edge of the private. That's a little better deer than what I've been finding. Still a 2-year-old, most likely. We'll glance here, see if I can find the other one. I'm not going to spend much time on it. It's a this year's shed, but he dropped it a little while back, obviously. Doesn't have anything for brow tines, really. He'd probably get shot this year, though. Oh, I'm gonna glance around, see if I can see it, but I'm not gonna spend much time on it. I've exceeded expectations on the whole finding sheds. I really did not expect to find any. And this one's in the middle of oaks, so I figured the squirrels would have gotten on it, but they haven't touched it. Kind of wild.